Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are here to get a 1 in human and social biology. And we know we have the paper 1 coming up. So this is a revision session for the multiple choice paper that is coming up on the 30th of this month. That is in a couple of days. So we are looking out for that. We are starting to prepare for that. We want to get a 1. That's the aim. That's the aim. A 1 is the aim. So let's see those 1s in the chats. Before we kick things off, let's get those 1s in the chats. Want to start in the next next 2 minutes or so. We also would do a live tomorrow at around the same time, just to see how everyone is doing, make sure everyone is comfortable going into this multiple choice exam. Yeah, we will do human and social biology live tomorrow as well, around the same time, 9 o'clock. We are also preparing for the biology multiple choice. We would start the live sessions for those tomorrow a little earlier. So bio first, then human and social biology. But we are here for the social biology aspect, the HSB. HSB is a really popular subject at CXA. So let's jump into it for this evening. We want to start off with looking at some tricks, some nice plans about how you go about doing the paper 1. So you know this is the syllabus that is being examined. It came into force in the June 2022 exam. Yeah, and we want to look at this paper, and you know that there are a few sections of the syllabus, 5 in fact, and you will get multiple choice questions from all these sections. Section B being the largest section. Section B is the largest section. Life processes, it breaks up. When we look at it, it has to cover these 7 general objectives. So it breaks up nutrition, respiration, circulation, etc. So it breaks up. So it's really, this is where most of your questions come from, right? So from about question 5 to about question 40. So about 35 or a little over half of the paper is from section B. And that is knowing which section you are doing is a really smart way to do the paper. And let me start off by outlining it for you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The first few questions from about question 1 to question 5 will be section 8. After that, the next set of questions from about, question 5, question 6 to about question 40-ish will be on section B. Yeah? And then it have C, D, and E after. So you get about from question 40, let's put 41 to about question 45 will be, or 45 or thereabout, 46 will be section C. Yeah, I hope persons are seeing this nice and clearly. Let me switch back. Let me switch back to the writing and type it out on this section so you could see it here. So this is what, oh, someone was saying they weren't seeing it. So this is what it should look like. Hopefully you are seeing it better now. Right? So about question, let's say 46-ish or 47 for simplicity of maths to about 52, section D. And then the remainder, 53 to 60, section E. Section E is the end of the syllabus that deals with pollution, you know, man's impact on the environment. Yeah. So this is about how you line up your sections. So you know that the first few questions coming from section A. Section A deals with living things, the characteristics of life, the food web, carbon cycle, those kinds of things. Section B, life processes. And even in section B, we could break up the questions or when we expect to get them. So if we put section B as this, if we put section B, which we know starts off with nutrition, we could actually break it up to see what question comes where in nutrition. So we know it will be about 5 to about 14. Yeah, will be nutrition. So you know, for those first set of questions in section B, they are focusing on nutrition. You don't expect any question on excretion in that specific 5 to 14 area. All right. About, let's say 15 to 20, respiration. Yeah. After respiration, the next topic is circulation. So 21 to 24. Circulation. Then we have skeletal system or musculoskeletal system. So let's do 25. And that's a very small section. So let's say about 3 questions. The skeleton. After the skeleton, we have what we have after the skeleton. Excretion. So we could go about 29, give a 4 so question. So let's do about 32. We know excretion and homeostasis. After excretion, we have nervous system. So let's do about 33 to 36, 37, 38, about there. Nervous system has the eye in it as well. All right. After nervous system, we know we end off with excretion. Not excretion, reproduction. We end off with reproduction. So to about 38 to about 40, let's make it, yeah, reproduction. So this is how the section B is coming. This is basically a good gauge in numbers to know that, hey, nutrition has about nearly 10 questions, right? Respiration, they bring about 5 questions. Circulation, about 5. Skeletal, going to be just 1 or 2 or 3 questions. Nervous system, then reproduction. And these are about 35 questions in your paper. Is everyone following so far? Are you all understanding the groundwork I'm trying to set you all up with? Make sure that you know that this is a very narrow field of knowledge that you want to look at. Yeah, a very narrow field of knowledge. So when you are doing question number 2, no one should be thinking about pollution. Yeah, when you're doing question number 2, you know that is in section A. Focus on that. So let's jump into a paper. Let's jump into a paper and see how we would fare. I do encourage persons to subscribe to the channel. We will do another live tomorrow, so you want to click that notification as well, so you will be notified. It'll be around the same time, about 9 o'clock-ish. So we would use the specimen paper. That's the paper that CXC puts out to let us know how or what to expect. Yeah, and it tells you have an hour and 15 minutes, which means you have a little over a minute. It's 60 questions, so you have a minute and 15 seconds to do each question. But you're not going to take a minute and 15 seconds. Hopefully, you want to spend about 20 seconds reading the question and about 30 seconds answering, so you should have some left over. Yeah. Shade your answer. Everyone knows you do multiple choice with a pencil. You want to choose the best answer. The best answer is what you want to choose. There could be more than one correct answer in the multiple choice, but you want the one that best. Sometimes you have to look at the English of the question. Sometimes the questions may be tricky in terms of how they are structured English-wise, but do your best and never leave a multiple choice question blank. Yeah? Never. There's no reason to ever leave a multiple choice question blank. I mean, you may leave out some with the intention of coming back to it, but if you run out of time, just shade. Never leave it blank. So let's look at these first few questions. Someone is asking, what happens if you use a pen? It's not necessarily that you get penalized. It's just that these papers are not marked by humans. They are marked by a computer. In terms of the answer sheet is pushed into a thing that beams light through the paper. And the light has to be blocked at the shaded location. So it's not a human that's marking these things. They are just pushing it onto a computer thing and it will just spit out the thing depending on your shading. Sometimes pen throws it off. All right? That's why they always tell you use a pencil. Plus, pencil allows you to erase clearly when you want to change an answer. With a pen, you cannot change your answer in a multiple choice. Even if you cross it out, you still will get it wrong if you shade something else. Once you use a pen, you cannot change your answer. All right? So, let's go. This is the Specimen 2022 paper. Which part of the cell controls all activities which take place within it? And again, we already identified that these first few questions will be from section A. So no one should be thinking anything strange at this point. All right? And we know we are starting off with the answer being A. So let me get my highlighter. Let me go with red. Yeah. A is the answer, nucleus. I hope. Right? And everyone is in the chat there with me. So Number 2, which of the following specialized cells is found in the gut? And you are just looking at it, and you should be, there are about 9 types of cells that your syllabus requires you to know. And so you just must be able to identify them as you see them straight off the bat, no tricks. So gut cells, you know, they must have little projections. You know, these are found in only 2 places, gut cells and the respiratory system. But the other cells are definitely not in the gut. So the answer is none other than D. Why can't I highlight this? I need to be able to highlight this. Come on, come on. It's D. I want to choose D, but it's not letting me highlight D. I don't know why. So let me just put a check mark for D. Yeah, change it to red. All right, let's continue on. Item 3 refers to the following food web, which shows the feeding relationship for animals in a forest. Which of the following outcomes will occur if the mealybug becomes extinct? So if the mealybug becomes extinct, we cross out the mealybug here. It's not alive. It's removed from the food web. What happens? And we have these answers here. Let me make it, see if I could. And everyone, I'm just giving persons some opportunity to do their reading and catch up with us. Let me see if I could highlight the correct answer. So many persons are picking C. The ladybird population will die out. That has to be it. C. Try to make it smaller. C. I'm not getting to shade on this paper. I don't know why, but C is the answer. Wonderful. And everyone is on track. Everyone is on track. Item 4 refers to the following diagram, which shows a process that occurs in the human body. The process illustrated in the diagram above is referred to as, what is it referred to as? We have a low concentration. You could see the plus signs. You could count them on this side, on the left-hand side, 2, 5, 8, and then we have so many plus signs on the high concentration side. And we have an arrow showing the pluses going from low to high. What process is that? Yeah. What process is that? And C is absolutely wrong. I want persons to take note of this. Transpiration. Remember, this is section A. The first 5 or so questions are coming from section A. So you could never be talking about transpiration in section A. Yeah? And anytime you're seeing a movement against a concentration gradient, which is high to low, in this case, you're seeing low to high, you know that is D, active transport. All right? Active transport. Someone wants us to enlarge the screen a little bit, so I hope that helps. Item 5 refers to the following diagram, which shows the final step involved in testing for the presence of starch in a leaf. This is a simple starch test, right? You test for starch in a leaf. The leaves are supposed to have starch in it. And what happens when solution X is dropped on the leaf, assuming photosynthesis has occurred, means starch will be present. The leaf will become what? What color does iodine change, which is solution X? That's what they're telling us, which is iodine. What color does iodine change in the presence of starch? And I hope persons are thinking blue-black is the perfect description of the color, and they have black, so we are going with B. Yeah. So now that we have completed the first 5 or so questions, persons recognizing those questions were from section A. It means the next set of questions will be the start of section B, which begins with nutrition. So from question 6, we have changed our thinking to start thinking about knowledge for nutrition. Yeah. Which of the following minerals play an important role in the nucleus of the cell and is necessary for the formation of bones and teeth? Bones and teeth. Yeah. They mention bones and teeth, which, and I hope persons take their time and think it through. If it's bones and teeth, what are we thinking? What are we thinking? And I'm trying to stress on the teeth to try to give a hint. Right? This is question 6. You all will be surprised to know that the answer is not calcium. The answer is phosphorus. I was trying to stress on the bones and the teeth, and it plays an important role in the nucleus of the cell. The answer is D, phosphorus. All right? I'm seeing someone asking, what is the different sections? This is just for you, Jay. We already went through this at the start. We have sections A, B, C, D, and E. They do have names, obviously, but we just call them section A, B, C, D, and E. And section B is life processes. So the first life process is nutrition, respiration, circulation, skeletal, excretion, nervous system, and reproduction. Those are the life processes found in section B, which is the questions we are doing right now. And we are on question number 7 now. All right. So I hope persons understand the reasoning behind question number 6. You wanted a mineral that plays an important role in the nucleus of the cell, and it must be necessary for the formation of bones and teeth. Yes, calcium, definitely for the bones and the teeth, but calcium value in the cell, in the nucleus, is not as high as phosphorus. All right, so D is the answer here. Which of the following vitamins is classified as water soluble? All right, which of the following vitamins is classified as water soluble? And I hope persons are thinking an easy way, the way I remember this. The answer for this is C. The way I remember this as BCAD. And let me just type it out. Maybe that might help 1 or 2 persons. I remember this as water, BC, and AD. Yeah. Water before Christ, AD, fats. Yeah. That's the way I remember it. But you could have your own way to it. Maybe that might help you. Maybe it may not. So let's continue. See how well we are doing. Question 8. The best reason for including water in the diet is that, and notice that best in capital letters. They make sure and let you know that that best is in capital letters. So when it's in capital letters, why is it in capital letters? Yeah. they want you to know that there could be more than one correct answer, but you should pick the best answer. You should pick the best answer. So, dissolves nutrients during digestion is necessary to prevent the development of scurvy. Is the medium in which certain minerals are stored stops hunger from returning too early after a meal is eaten. Does water really stop hunger from returning? I'm not even sure about that D, right? If water does really stop hunger from returning, water would be great for weight loss. But nevertheless, the answer, as most of you have already identified, is A. Yeah, so that one was easy. Question 9. Which of the following measures can be used to categorize obesity? Height, weight, blood pressure, body mass index, also abbreviated to BMI. I think that one is fairly easy as well. So let me go on. I'm going to do the ones that I think are extremely easy, a little faster. Which row in the following table correctly matches the enzyme with its site of production? Remember, these questions are we are still in the nutrition. Remember, nutrition has the largest section. It has about 10 or so questions in nutrition. So enzymes fall within nutrition, the life process. All right, so they ask you to match up the enzymes for number 11. And what are we thinking for number 11? What are we thinking? Sucrase and the pancreas? Maltase and salivary glands? Right? Pepsin and walls of stomach? Nice. Amylase, walls of small intestine? All right. So the only one, someone is saying I missed out 10. All right, let's do 11 first. That's true. I did miss out 10. All right, so 11 is pepsin and walls of stomach, right? That's the only one that makes sense. Every other one is a mismatch. Let's do number 10. Number 10. I believe I missed out one. Wow, thank you, everyone who put it in the chat. Which of the following teeth present in children and adults is responsible for grinding food into smaller pieces? 10 responsible for grinding food in smaller pieces. And here is the hint in this question. They said in children and adults. In children and adults means you have to have this teeth. And you do have quite a bit of them, right? You do have all of them except molars. All right, you do have for children, you don't have molars. They have premolars. So the one responsible for grinding food into smaller pieces in children and adults. Are we seeing it there? Is very good, very good, very good. All right, so we did 11 before 10. That was by accident. Let's go on to number 12. Item 12, we get a graph, and there will be graphical data. I think it's supposed to be about 3 questions that's supposed to come with some kind of graphical data. So you could always be on the lookout for them. So this is your first one. I think it's about 3. Usually it's about 3 or 4 questions, all right? Where they give you some kind of data and they ask you to do something with it. So they ask, this is the rate of reaction varies with temperature for a certain enzyme. And they ask you which of the following conclusions can be deduced from the graph. So you have to look at the graph and arrive at a conclusion. I am taking a quick read of these things, and the rate of reaction is slower at lower temperatures. So C, we're going with, is everyone in agreement with C? Is everyone in agreement with C? Some persons, I'm watching it in the chat, and some persons are saying D, so that means I should do some explanation here. The rate of reaction reaches a maximum at 20 degrees Celsius. All we have to do is come across to 20 and see if that is the highest, and it is not, so A is wrong. B, the optimum temperature for the rate of reaction is 30 degrees Celsius. We come across to 30 degrees Celsius. See if that is the highest. It is not. It is wrong. D, the rate of reaction decreases as the temperature increases. But we have all of this here at the start, right? The first 4 squares of the graph make that a very suspect answer. And then the rate of reaction is slower at lower temperatures. That's 100% true. D might be true for what? 2/3 of the graph. But C is true for the whole thing. So remember, it's about the best answer. All right? It's about the best answer. That's why we are going with C. Oh gosh. I hope everyone is understanding. Understanding will get you that much closer to the 1. All right. So let's continue. Let's continue. Number 13 refers to the following diagram, which shows the organs of the digestive system. And this, you just have to know your organs, right? You have to know your organs. 1 is the stomach. 2 is the pancreas. 3 is the gallbladder. 4 is the appendix. All right, so you just have to know, and they ask you which one is the pancreas. There's nothing really you could teach about it. It's just whether the student has memorized their organs, if they learned the body. So let me just make sure it falls in line. Right. Nice. 14, a villus is best able to perform its function because it has. Now, don't confuse villus and villi, right? In terms of, they are the same thing. One is singular, one is plural. So they are trying to play a word trick on you. All right? So don't let that trick you. So 14, what are we thinking? So a villus, the big one, it would have smaller projections, and the smaller projections are called micro. Yeah, I hope persons are aware of that. The smaller projections on the villus is called villi, right? And they go into the micro. So when you go on the micro means small, right? Meaning you can't see it with your naked eye. So on the villus, you have microvilli, right? So 14, the answer is an easy D. No. Right? 14, the answer is D. And let's look into this question. Let's look into this question a bit. A thick epithelial lining, a very small surface area, few carrier proteins within its cell membrane, several projections, microvilli present on its surface. What you need to pay attention to is that they asked you for the best. So at the point of the villi, villus, villi, microvilli is to increase surface area. You want to increase the movement of substances across the membrane. So a thick epithelial lining, that no, right? You want a thin one. A small surface area, again, that's the opposite of what the purpose to the function is. A few carrier proteins, it does have a few carrier proteins, you know. but there is a better answer. Should I say a few or should I say more or plentiful? It does have quite a bit of carrier proteins. Let me say that. But the better answer is D. Yeah, the better answer is D. This is the 2022 specimen paper, Lopez. In which of the following organs does chemical digestion occur only? And they put that only in bold letters for you. So they just want you to pick the answer. This is not a trick question. Just pick the answer as in the small intestines. The small intestines. The mouth has mastication, chewing, that's mechanical digestion. The stomach also has mechanical digestion. The large intestine, well, why are we doing digestion if we reach the large intestines already, right? So the small intestines is the answer. 16, we go into 70. Right, so for this, we could see that we are transferring from nutrition to respiration. I hope persons are seeing that. Nutrition questions are over, and we are now going into respiration. Remember, we identified this at the start, that each section will be tested at specific areas. All right, so this is the life processes. We're going into the second topic of the life processes, which is respiration. Which of the following factors may not affect the rate of breathing of an individual? So the breathing rate of an individual does not change when. They put the not in capital letters. When does it not change? And I've seen some person saying it, yes, right? A person's height does not affect the breathing rate. So how tall a person is, that doesn't affect their breathing rate. 17, remember I told you, you will get graphical data questions. So this is another one. We have 17 and 18 items coming from this graph. And they tell you it's the average age of death and the number of cigarettes smoked per day. And question 17 says, if an individual died at 70 years old, how many cigarettes did he or she smoke per day? And we just have to find the age of death at 70 and come across to the curve, and we see it's about 5. So we are looking for an answer that says 5, which is B. At what average age did non-smokers die? Non-smokers are the people who not smoking. So they are smoking 0 cigarettes per day. So you find 0 and you go up, and that is about 74 and a half, 74 years and 6 months, 74.5 years, which tells us that we are looking at 74.5 years. All right, easy enough. And I'm watching the chat. I'm seeing persons following easily. Question 19. First, the following diagram, which shows the structure of the human respiratory system. The human respiratory system, in which the labels structure, they label it, and they like this diagram. This diagram is a popular diagram. You would see it in many. And what they did with the new syllabus, they just updated this diagram. Long ago, 8, 9 years back, the diagram used to look more cluttered. All right, so they just removed some of the aspects of the diagram, and but basically it's the same diagram. So if you look back a few syllabi back, you would see this diagram just a little more cluttered. Which of the label structures above does gaseous exchange take place? Gaseous exchange, the movement of gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen, where are they taking place? And I hope everyone is thinking the alveoli, another name for alveoli is the air sacs. So you are thinking B. Yes, I'm seeing some B's in the chat. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's go on to 20. And we see now that we have just ventured in to questions about the heart, which means we are now in circulation. So we are on track. We are on track with reaching the third topic of life processes. All right, remember this falls within where we think it would fall. We said about question 21 to 24 would be circulation. And it's right, it's on track. Question 20, they have it exactly at question 20. All right. So let's continue on. The thickest chamber of the heart. Which chamber of the heart has the thickest walls? That's what they are asking. Which chamber of the heart has the thickest walls? And is it the left atrium, the right atrium, the left ventricle, the right ventricle? What are we thinking? What are we thinking? And I hope everyone is thinking it should be on the left-hand side. Because the reason the left-hand side should have thicker parts is because they have to pump to the whole body. And the part that lets out blood to pump to the whole body is the left ventricle. All right? So I hope persons are thinking C. C, left ventricle. Wonderful, wonderful. Systolic pressure is defined as, and systolic is the higher of the two numbers. It's systolic over diastolic. Systolic pressure should always be the higher number. It's when the heart contracts, the pressure of the blood being squirted out of the heart when it contracts, right? Diastolic is when the heart relaxes. And we just want a statement that makes sense. So 21, we are going with highest pressure when the heart contracts, D. All right, Anderson, I want you to be confident with your answers. So say D. You don't need to wonder if it's D, just choose D. All right, be confident. In exams, you have to have confidence. Otherwise, you would always be second guessing yourself. All right, you know the correct answer, choose it. 22, lymph is different from tissue fluid because lymph contains a higher concentration of what? What does lymph contain? A higher concentration. It has lymph does have antibodies in it. It is so if it has antibodies and proteins, it must have a higher concentration of something. What must it be? I hope someone is saying plasma proteins and blood cells. Lymph wouldn't have blood cells in it. All right, blood cells are for the blood. So lymph has amino acids because of the proteins and water. All right, nutrients and oxygen. Lymph is not that kind of thing. All right, lymph, and if you all ever see lymph in real life, it's kind of clayish. It's see-through, it's colorless. So you see straight through it. It doesn't really have a color. So amino acids and water, yes, it's the majority of it is water, right? I think everyone knows water makes up the majority of our human body. Carbon dioxide and urea, lymph is not something to be excreted, so it would definitely not have carbon dioxide and urea. Plasma proteins and blood cells. The blood cells is the problem here. The blood cells make this a significant problem here with D. All right, so someone is asking, is protein stored in the roots of plants or carbohydrates? Proteins can be stored in different parts of plants depending on what kind of plant it is, right? Some plants do store stuff underground, and we know plenty of those bulbs and tumors have their food stores and reserve stores underground, but many of them will also store protein in their new growing branches, or not, they wouldn't be branches until they're fully grown, but growth cells. Yeah. So the typical buds, they will store protein there. I know we just went off track, Gabby. That sounds like a biology question, right? But yes. So yes, they can store in different places. Let's go on. All right. Someone is asking, sir, is paper 1 30%? Yes, yes. Paper 1 is 30% of your mark. Paper 2 is 50% of your mark. And your SBA, or those who would have done paper 3, that is 20% of you. All right. Item 23 refers to the following diagram. Again, we are still in the circulation thing. So these are blood cells that they are showing you, and you just have to recognize them. Any cell that has the lobed nucleus, you know those are phagocytes. The cells where it's taking up the majority, where the nucleus is taking up the majority of your cell, you know that as lymphocytes. You know the donut-shaped cells are your red blood cells, which makes S your platelets. So the answer for 23 is none other than A. All right. All right. No problem, Gabby. It's fine. We will do lives for biology, Gabby, on tomorrow. We are starting our lives. So tomorrow, paper 1 at about 8. So you could check us out there for the bio. The role of an artificial pacemaker. Now, pacemakers, and I'm taking my time with this question, pacemakers do 2 things. They control the heart rate, and when the heart rate falls low, they want to be able to speed it up, which is an aspect of control, but they generally do with the speeding up. So an artificial pacemaker is usually put in when something is wrong. Yeah? When something is wrong with the actual natural pacemaker. So which statement works the best? It controls the heartbeat, initiate the heartbeat, speed up the heartbeat, slow down the heartbeat. You need to pick which one covers as much. All right? So the one that covers as much is control the heartbeat. Yeah? Control the heartbeat. So and I'm glad that others were able to arrive at that conclusion as well. So I hope persons are seeing that if we reach question 24, it means we are now transitioning to skeletal system. 25, so we are on track. All right, about 25 to 28, we are saying we expect questions from the human skeleton, right? Paper 1 is not a paper where you want to be surprised. There are no surprises for paper 1. we have to know exactly what we're doing. That's why I'm doing it like this. That's why I'm putting it there, so you know exactly which question will test which topic. Yeah, too many times. And I also have students who will say, sir, but why they ask this question here? It's because of the topic. Questions test specific topic, and you should know which topic is being tested by which number question. Tendons are tissues which do what? What do tendons do? Anyone knows? What do tendons do? Tendons touch the end of muscles to bones. Yes, yes. And I'm seeing someone already had that as their answer. Yes, you are right. Ligaments connect bone to bone. Kyle, you are correct. Ligaments do connect bone to bone. Very good, very good. And yes, many of these questions repeater. Many of these questions. And Rochester, we are going live tomorrow again. We are going live tomorrow again around the same time, 9 o'clock. So you could check us back here and make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you could get the notification once we go live. Question 26. Which row in the following table describes the action of an antagonistic muscle when flexing the arm? Flexing is the fancy way to say bending the arm. So when you bend your arm, and if you get this question, use your actual arm and flex it or bend it. In the exam, use your actual arm and bend it, and you will realize that the biceps will get shorter, means they contract, and the triceps will get longer, which means they relax. So 26, the answer is C. All right, take your time and see. I'm watching the chat. Some of you just take your time, right? At which type of joint are bones separated by cartilage pads and allow slight movement? Slight movement. Now, I don't like this question because the word slight movement could throw you off. The word slight movement could throw you off. That's why I don't like this question. The English for this question is messy. Slight means there is movement. But so a fixed joint has no movement. Fixed joint is like joints in your skull, your cranium. All right? They don't have movement. Hinge joints, well, we know hinge joints have plenty movement. That's 90 degrees. Synovial joints, there are synovial joints at various parts of your body. They are characterized by synovial fluid. Ball and socket joint. But a synovial, that's the thing. That's why I say I don't like this question. Because the fixed joint not supposed to have any movement. But again, we just have to pick the best answer, which makes it A. Right? But I don't think any of us is go wrong and have slight movements in our skull, right? Again, they could have just left out the word slight and it would have become such a much better, an easily better question. Yeah? So much better. All right. And the cartilage pads, eh? The cartilage pads, you have cartilage in synovial joints as well. Eh? So again, you see the language. That's why I'm telling you, take your time and read it and pay attention to the language as well. Item 28 refers to the diagram of the skeleton and the bone label Z. And just take your time. Take your time and make sure you see clearly which bone they are pointing at. Let's make it slightly bigger so we could all see. So they are pointing to the thicker bone, which is the inner bone. You know that that's the shin bone. When you're playing football, that's the bone you want to hit people with, right? Your shin bone, it does have a proper name to it. All right. So we know the thin one is the flimsy one, the fibula, and the thick one is the tibia. All right. So the answer for this question is B. Item 29. So it means those about what? Those three or so questions on the skeletal system. Those three questions on the skeletal system. Remember, even in the syllabus, the skeleton is a very small topic. It just have what, 5, 6 objectives. So you can't really expect plenty questions on the skeleton. Yeah. So we are transitioning. If there's questions about the skin, we are now into excretion and homeostasis in the life processes. And it tells you question 29 and 30 are about something about this diagram. Each option may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Which of the structures above secretes sweat? Which one secretes sweat? Okay, so it means we are looking for a sweat pore. We are looking for a sweat pore, and a sweat pore does not have a hair follicle or hair strand growing out of it. So we could just follow this down and we see we arrive at A. So 29 is A. Let me write a A there. And 30, which of the structures above is stimulated when a person feels cold? What happens when you feel cold? When you feel cold, your skin is supposed to contract, right? We know your blood vessels will sink deeper as well. So we have to look at what they have identified in the diagram for us. And D is an erector muscle. D is an erector muscle. I hope persons know what that is. That is one of the muscles that will pull your string and it helps you get goosebumps. All right, so D for question 30. Right? Someone is saying, here down, if you are feeling cold, are you sure about that? If you're feeling cold, your hair is supposed to stand up in an attempt to try to trap a layer of air. All right? So just don't mix it. Question 31. We have, which of the following activities is most likely occurring during phase 3? This is a person who has, they're showing blood glucose level. Phase 3, their glucose level went up and it's starting to be controlled, so it's starting to dip. Yeah, it's starting to dip. So what has happened phase 3? Phase 3, and we could think, is the person sleeping? They wish they were sleeping. Fasting between meals. Vigorous exercise was just completed. A meal rich in carbohydrates was consumed. Yeah, that's it. That's the only one that should spike the glucose level from the options that they have given us that would spike the glucose level so high. Right? So D, and I am seeing persons saying D in the chat, which is wonderful. So let's put a check mark right by D. Which of the following activities would cause the body to release antidiuretic hormone? ADH, you may know this abbreviated as ADH, antidiuretic hormone. This is to help with the conservation of water. It acts on the loop of Henle in the kidneys. So what's supposed to happen? 32, we should look for someone who is trying to conserve water from losing it. Eating salty foods, excessive sweating, drinking a lot of water, drinking sugary liquids. Which one of these would cause the body to release this hormone? So we are obvious. Am I seeing some hesitation in your answers? I think I'm seeing hesitation in the answers. So I think this question I should explain. All right. So let me tell you the answer, by the way. So 32, the answer is B. 32, the answer is B. And so let me take some time to explain it now. Eating salty foods mean you need to keep your water inside of you. Excessive sweating means you are losing water. I hope persons are seeing that. There's a difference. Eating salty foods means you don't produce urine. Excessive sweating means you are losing water. I'm emphasizing the difference between what is water loss, between water conservation. Drinking a lot of water, but if you're drinking water, you don't really care about conserving it, or you don't care about losing it. And drinking sugary liquids, remember, you should think about salt more, right? Sugary liquids will only impact this if the person have diabetes or something, right? So B is the better answer, all right? It's better than A, all right? So I hope persons are seeing that, all right? If you are drinking a lot of water, so it can't be C, right? If you are drinking a lot of water, you are okay. You don't need to conserve water if you're drinking a lot of, you actually want to lose some water. All right. 33. Which of the following type of reflexes is pupil dilation? Which means we are just into the nervous system. The eye falls under the nervous system. So we are finished with excretion and homeostasis. We are into the nervous system. So they have spinal cranial voluntary condition. The pupil is on your head, and all your reflexes happening on your head, all your reflexes happening on your head are called cranial reflex, right? Your head. For it to be a spinal reflex, it needs to be happening on a part of your body that is not your head, right? So B, 33 is B. Question 34. Which of the following describes the functions of sense organs? To warn of danger, detection of stimuli, inform about the environment. When you see a lion running towards you, how did you see it? With your eyes. Detection of stimuli, yeah. You could see a car coming to bounce you. To inform about the environment, you could feel when the temperature changes in the environment, you know. So all these answers seem to be correct. They are functions of your sense organs. So 1, 2, 3. What do you all think? Reasoning holes? Or is there another thing? Here is the thing. When you see the lion coming, is it that your eyes say dangerous, or does it just see the lion coming? Right? Your eyes don't tell you that something is dangerous. Your brain tells you that something is dangerous. And your brain is not a sense organ. So yes, you may see the lion coming, but it doesn't mean it's dangerous. So I want persons to understand that, right? That's why I'm using the example of a lion or a dog attacking you. Your brain is the one that determines if something is dangerous. So 1 is wrong. All right? So it's detection of stimuli and inform about the environment. So it's 2 and 3, which makes it C. All right? Which makes it C. So 2 and 3. Please, I've seen many persons make a mistake with this question simply because of the warn of the danger. Everyone thinks because they see something, it might be dangerous. Your brain is the one that determines if something is dangerous or not. Linda is looking at a coconut tree. If she has normal vision, how would the image of the coconut tree appear on her retina? And this one is an easy one. Everything appears on the retina upside down. So let's just click that. And we could move on to 36. Brent has low blood sugar levels. Which of the following hormones is being secreted to ensure that he has sufficient energy to continue his activities? He needs to have sufficient energy to continue his activities. What are we thinking for question 36? And I hope persons are thinking, to get the energy, he needs to break down his stored sugar. Sugar is stored in the body as glycogen. So he needs to break down the glycogen to glucose. And the hormone that breaks down glycogen to glucose is glucagon. So, right? Remember, insulin, don't confuse insulin and glucagon. Yes, they are both secreted by the pancreas, but insulin stores your glucose. It converts glucose to glycogen. Glucagon is the opposite of insulin. All right? Brent has low blood sugar. They started telling you that, right? So it definitely means insulin is not the answer. So 36, take your time. 36 is B. Michael has diabetes mellitus. Which of the following vision disorders is he at risk for developing? If he has a vision disorder that is caused by high blood sugar, uncontrolled blood sugar level, what is he thinking? What is he thinking that could be the answer? And I hope persons are thinking, this is a popular one in the Caribbean. I hope persons, this question should automatically focus you on A or B, right? And if you have learned your work well, you should be thinking about cataracts. You should be thinking about cataracts. Glaucoma is pressure. Astigmatism is a irregular shape in the eyeball, etc. Short-sightedness is, well, You see objects nearby clearly, but objects far away, you don't see clearly. That doesn't have anything to do with his diabetes. All right? So 37 is A. 37 is A. All right, and it means we are on the mere fact that sexual and asexual words mean this is reproduction. So we are right on track. We said this is question 38. Yes, so reproduction, the last few questions about 38 to 40 should be reproduction. That is wonderful. We are right on track. We are right on track. So we know this is the final topic for the life processes. This is the final topic for section B. Which of the following comparisons about sexual and asexual reproduction is true? And we have them matching up here. Requires one parent. Oh, well, already off the bat, they're telling us that sexual require only one parent. Well, that is not true. Offspring are genetically identical. Well, that is not true. That don't make, we don't even need to continue reading. Involves the fusion of gametes? Yes. Let me read the next side. Does not involve the fusion of gametes? Yes, so far that's right. A large number of offspring produced? No. Sexual reproduction does a small number of offspring. So it means 38 is C. All right, 38 is C. 39, another graphical data question. Remember, I did tell you you should expect at least 3 of these kinds of questions where they give you some kind of graph and you have to get some information or use something along with the graph. Which of the following processes is most likely occurring at point X? What's happening here? X. And if you're watching this graph and it's day 14 and the menstrual cycle of a female, about day 14, what is happening? And I hope everyone is thinking about ovulation. All right, ovulation, day 14. Which of the following structures is expelled from the vagina shortly after childbirth? So childbirth, the child has come out, but there is something we may colloquially call it afterbirth, but that needs to come out as well. What is this afterbirth that we often talk about? And I'm watching in the chat and I'm seeing all the letters A. I don't think anyone would get this wrong. I think everyone knows this question. So let's go on to 41. Which of the following methods of birth control prevent ovulation and implantation? All right. Prevent ovulation and implantation. Ovulation is the release of the egg. Implantation is where the fertilized ovum is trying to implant and embed into the walls of the womb, the walls of the uterus. So which method prevents that from happening? And I hope everyone is thinking something about the endocrine system, which means hormones are in play. Yeah, you may know this as the hormonal injection or the pill. Yeah, the hormonal method of birth control. Charles, why are you saying A or D? You could never choose 2 answers in multiple choice, and the barrier method does not prevent implantation or ovulation. The barrier method is things like the male condom. It prevents one gamete from reaching the other. It's a physical barrier, right? So it could never be A. All right, Charles. So choose D. 42. Georgia does not complete her course of antibiotics because she is feeling better. Georgia is making a bad decision. Which of the following outcomes is likely to occur as a result of her not, and you notice they put this not in capital letters because they don't want you to miss it. Which of the following outcomes is likely to occur as a result of her not finishing her course of antibiotics? And before we answer this question, does everyone realize this is section C? This is hereditary and variation. This is the genetics that we have ventured into. So we are right on track to know that this is section C questions that are coming up here. All right, so let's check it out and see. She's feeling better. Nothing else should happen. Oh, that's a funny response. All right, that is a funny response. She's likely to contract another type of infectious disease. Resistant bacteria in her body are left to grow and multiply. Yeah, boy. That sounds like the answer already without even reading D. Resistant viruses in her body are left to grow and multiply. She's using antibiotics. You don't use antibiotics to treat viruses. So C is the answer. Notice they just changed one word in those answers. That's why I'm encouraging you to take your time. Take your time and read carefully. So let's go into 43. We have a Punnett square of flower color where the dominant R is red and the recessive R is white. Dominant R is red, the recessive R is white. What is the genotypic ratio of red flowers to white flowers? And we could just write it out there. If we have dominant and recessive, it means the recessive will not show up once the dominant is present. So any with a capital R, dominant R, will be red. So we're seeing, let me write for this one. We're seeing this being, is red. And we know that this is white. So we just have to count. That's all they're asking us to do, to count. Yeah? But then, do you all know that there is something that we didn't put into this question? Yeah. When you mix things, what happened? Right? So this is the phenotype. They're asking for genotype. So we just need to count and see how many of each one we get. We have 3 genotypes. We have 3 genotypes. So we just need to count and see how many we get. We have 1 to 2 to 1. Yeah? So in genotypes, this is the phenotype on top. This is the genotype beneath. So whichever one that works out to be C. 43 is C. Let me go back with my check mark. Put it right there. All right. So just take your time, Item 44 refers to the following diagram, which shows a cell undergoing a process of mitosis. Which of the following phases of mitosis is occurring in the cell above? I hope everyone is realizing we really start like asking this question. And this was even in this year's paper 2, all right, where they had the cell and they drew some different phases of cell division. So which one is this? Which phase is this? Is this prophase, anaphase, telophase, metaphase? Yeah, and you just have to know where the things are. If we look at the chromatids, you see them here. They have already lined up at the equator, but now they are being pulled apart by the spindle fibers. So, well, if they line up already and now being pulled apart means metaphase has already gone, prophase gone too. It just have 2 more phases to come, and this one is being pulled apart. So the pulling phase of cell division is called anaphase. I hope persons know that. Please know that the pulling phase, where the chromosomes line up and then being pulled apart, the spindle fibers pulling them to the different poles, is called anaphase. The phase where they line up is called metaphase, and telophase is where the division of the nucleus starts happening. All right? So, and well, prophase is the early one, right? So I hope you understand. Yes, yummy. Telophase is the final phase. So the answer is B. '45. Alternative genes for eye color are referred to as, they like this definition. They like this definition. This is not the first time they ask this question, right? They like this definition. Y'all could make sure you know this definition for alternative genes, which is called alleles. You know that. And if we are into question 45, it just means that section D is up next. Section D is up next. Section D is usually about 8, 9, 10 questions thereabout. So this will take us into the 50s. Section D is about diseases. Yeah, diseases. So let's do the first disease question and see. HPV vaccine for young women may help prevent what kind of cancer? What kind of cancer? And I hope everyone thinking human papillomavirus is very much associated with reproductive cancer in women. Which one of these is a reproductive cancer in women? And I hope you are thinking cervical cancer. Right? Cervical cancer. It helps prevent that. Organisms that transmit disease-causing microbes to other organisms are called vectors. Oh, that was easy. Feel like I was regurgitating a definition there. All right. So they ask us enough definitions there. So start to get into some more meaty questions. Glucose is found in the urine of diabetics because why is glucose in your urine? That person really needs to get control of their diabetes, all right? But glucose is in the urine. This is a clear indicator of diabetes. Why is there glucose in the urine? And reading, right. The answer is here. Not enough glucose in the blood is converted to glycogen. So it is being passed out because glucose, diabetes is uncontrolled glucose levels, So because the body is not able to convert glucose to diabetes to glycogen fast enough, some of it will be excreted in your urine, right? So that's the answer. C. I hope everyone understands that explanation. Uh, 49, bacteria were grown on an agar plate until the plate was covered with visible bacteria colonies. For this, containing equal amounts of different antibiotics were then placed on the agar plate. After 2 days, clear areas had formed around some of the discs as shown in the diagram below. So we have the 4 discs, and they are the black dots that you are seeing, and the clear areas is where the antibiotics worked. It's the areas, the clear areas is where the antibiotics worked. Remember, the whole disc is bacteria. So the parts without bacteria is because of the antibiotics. So let's check this out. They have some explanations for us, and taking a quick read at this. Is B, antibiotic W is more effective against these bacteria than antibiotic X. Yes, antibiotic has the largest clear area, which means that antibiotic worked the best. That antibiotic worked the best. So that statement is correct. Right? That statement is the best statement. Question 50, infectious diseases such as colds and influenza are most commonly spread by, and I think everyone should know this, considering we just passed through a pandemic, everyone should know this. How do you spread influenza? What do you do? What do you do when someone comes and sneezes by you, or sneeze by, or cough on you or something, right? You just there breathing it in, all right? So yes, inhaling their aerosolized particles, inhaling their little droplets of spit and thing that coming out, the person sneeze, and yes, all right? That's I hope everyone sees that clear. Some persons are thinking hand-to-face contact. Hand-to-face contact would be good, you know, but they ask for a better way. A better way, right? Think about when we were in the pandemic. You didn't want anybody coughing next to you, because you know how dangerous somebody coughing next to you was, or somebody sneezing next to you, all right? So the hand-to-face means you need to touch their saliva, and then you need to rub your face. How often were you actually doing that? All right? Somebody needs to dribble on some piece of clothing or something, and your hand needs to fall exactly there, and then you need to touch your eyes, or rub your nose, or suck your finger, right? Yeah. So D is the answer. So D should make sense. Nashawn, yes, the videos will be on this channel, so you could always check them out. Make sure you subscribe. These videos are all on the channel, and you should check out other videos of other paper ones as well. Let's go on to 51. We are nearly there. Just a few more questions. Which of the following factors contribute most to the development of obesity Remember, these are still questions about diseases. This is section D. And I'm seeing persons already choosing lifestyle. So yes, lifestyle is the correct answer. The correct sequence of the stages in the life cycle of a mosquito: egg, larva, pupa, adult. That already makes sense. You don't even need to read the rest. It can't be anything else. All right. But when you are doing the exam, of course, you would make sure and read all of them. Yeah. So 53, Mala is vaccinated against a disease and her antibody concentration increases rapidly. However, over the next few days, there is a gradual decrease in her antibody concentration. What type of immunity does Mala experience? She was vaccinated. Vaccination is man-made, which means artificial. All right? So straight away, that rules out A and C. All right? So we have between B and D. And the mere fact that over the next few days, there's a gradual decrease in her antibody concentration means she had to do the work, her body that is. So that means her body has played an active role in producing the antibodies. So she is active artificial, which is B. Simple enough deduction. Let's go up to 54. Ooh, 54 means we have just transitioned into the last topic, the final topic for the human and social biology syllabus, section E, which deals with man's impact on the environment. These last 6 questions will be on this. Or these last 7 questions will be on this, right? What is the correct order of the processes involved in large-scale water purification? You should start off with filtration, screening. Yeah? So, and well, this one is a dead giveaway because they put filtration. This is the only one that has filtration up front. This is the only one that has filtration up front. So that's an easy giveaway. If you start with chlorination, chlorination should be last. Chlorination should be last. So A is obviously the most wrongest. If it have a thing like that, most wrongest answer. All right, 55. What is the role of bacteria in sewage treatment? You want bacteria. Bacteria is alive. They help you break down and decompose any organic matter, right? You need to feed the bacteria oxygen and everything. So because it's alive, it's living, it has to respire. You want to make sure your bacteria is healthy to decompose any organic matter that should be present. So 55 is C. 55 is C. Nice, nice, nice. 56. Someone is saying they thought screening is first in question 54. Remember, screening is where you want to think of screening as a net to remove all the things, the large particles. You want to have a quick filtration. Filtration just removes gunk and everything. Yeah? Or if you, does anyone remember doing that experiment where you mix sand with water and then you have to filter it to basically get clean water? Think of that same process, but large-scale water purification being way bigger. All right? So filtration before screening. Yes, filtration does come before screening. All right. Screening is screening. You would hand-pickingly pick out. Well, you're not doing it by hand, right? You're using an actual screen. Pick out the large things that you see in there. All right. But filtration removes a multitude of things. So you want that first. 56. A student uses the apparatus below to test water for bacteria. All right. You use this. This is right. This is a loop or a swab, right? If this X could be a loop or a swab. In this case, they are using swab as the word. All right. The loop has the circle, like if you want to blow bubbles, the loop has a circle, but this one has a very tight top. So it's a swab. All right. So 56, they ask you for the correct labels, X, Y, and Z. And B. Where could I put this? Yeah, B. All right. I hope person's seeing that Y Petri dish, they're pointing right to the corner of the thing, and then Z is the agar that would be inside the Petri dish, right? The agar, it pours out as a liquid and it becomes a gel. Yeah, it pours out as a liquid and then it kind of solidifies into a gel. 57, Aaron lives downriver from a farm. One year he notices that algae are covering the surface of the river and fish are washing up dead on the shore. The most likely reason the fish died is due to what? Why are fish dying? What could cause the fish to die? A lack of oxygen, the overgrowth of algae, pesticides from the farm, fertilizers from the farm. Well, they ask for the reason the fish dying. So we would have to go with A lack of oxygen. The fish are being starved of oxygen because the algae, the eutrophication, is preventing sunlight and oxygen from mixing into the top of the water and coming down. So the fish are not getting the oxygen dissolved into the water. Item 58 refers to the following table. Shows types of garbage generated on a weekly basis in the household of persons in a rural village. We have tins and glass bottles being the highest. So what does 58 say? What would be the best method of domestic refuse disposal for the villagers to utilize to help reduce the amount of garbage sent to the landfill? Yeah, so they need a method to reduce this amount. Tin and glass bottle will be highest. So if you reduce that, you would have the highest impact. That's what that table is telling you. So what could we do to reduce that to have the highest impact? If it's tins, glass bottle, I hope everyone is seeing that we could recycle. Yeah, we could recycle. Glass and tins are definitely two items that can be recycled. And paper could also be recycled. Paper can also be recycled. Plastic as well. Oh gosh. Basically solving their problems. You could just recycle everything here. 59. Surav burns his household garbage every weekend. Which of the following is an effect of the smoke? What should happen? And if he's burning his garbage every weekend, he should dispose of his garbage properly, yeah? But nevertheless, he's single-handedly contributing to global warming, yeah? I hope we understand who is to blame here. Surab for burning garbage every weekend. He's single-handedly contributing to global warming. What a mean person he is. All right, so let's go on to the final question. Which of the following components is common to both the biological filter method and the activated sludge method? Yeah, and 60 stones covered with aerobic bacteria. Yes, both of them have to have bacteria. So final answer for this paper is D. All right. So I'm seeing some persons would think that B is the answer. Yes, they have aeration tanks because you want to provide the bacteria with air, but you want a better answer. All right. You want a better answer. All right. The biological filter method and the activated sludge method both focus on bacteria doing the work. So D is the better answer because it highlights that there is bacteria. All right. So candidates, I hope this paper helped you. And I hope that I was able to identify for you the topics that you should be tested on specifically at what section of the paper. This is the biggest hint I could give you for the exam coming up on Thursday. I do encourage you to subscribe and put those ones in the chat to let me know that you all are confident and on your way to making them a reality. All right. So do check back tomorrow where we will do another paper and the suggested questions, which would be closer to the questions that will come for your exam in a couple of days. In this paper one, we are preparing for the May-June 2024 Human and Social Biology paper one. All right, so check back for the live. Make sure you all subscribe. Have a good night, everyone. Put your ones in the chat.